And something a lot of people don't know, but in Canada, we have our own storage tanks, and we actually hold about 30 days of physical product of fuel. We've effectively cut out the middleman. We buy jet fuel directly from refineries all around the world. We charter vessels that then bring that product to Canada. We store it, and then we ship it to the airports.
Having started my career in the travel industry at an airline, I will tell you there's absolutely nothing more exciting than a new aircraft. OpenJaw is on location at Pearson Airport for the first unveiling of the A321 XLR. Mark, I think for most people, you sit down on a plane, it takes off, it gets you to where you're going, good, I'm done. That's all I care about. But so much engineering, so much planning goes into this beautiful beast that we're sitting in, and I want you to talk to me. Go back, step back a little bit and talk to me about why this A321 XLR is considered a game changer.
We have the latest technology offered in the industry, 4K ultra-high definition televisions, high-power USB charging, brand new materials and science in the seats that make them more comfortable, sturdier, and actually thinner all at the same time. So it means more personal space. And then, of course, the first time we have signature suites, private suites of lie-flat seats up in the J cabin on an narrow-body aircraft. There's really two stories to this, okay? On the one hand, we are the premium carrier in Canada, and we are the nation's flag carrier, okay? And we represent, on the other hand, Canada on the global stage. I'd argue that Air Canada is one of the most, if not the most visible corporate symbol of Canada around the world. So we're a premium airline, but we're also a Canadian icon. How do we bring the two together? And we said, well, we need to make sure that the way in which we offer our service to customers, how we look and feel, how we show up every day, that it represents both a premium airline, but not just any premium airline, not a generic premium airline that could be operating out of any country, but rather a clearly Canadian one. And so we started with the substance of it, that we needed to use more Canadian materials, Canadian suppliers. We needed to have Canadian culture embedded in our service. And then ultimately we led to, well, we want to be warm, we want to be friendly and welcoming, just like the country is, glowing hearted straight from the heart, glowing, warm, and welcoming.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, you mentioned narrow body, single aisle. I mean, this is part of what makes it a game changer because it can fly longer distances, correct? As a narrow body. So what is the opportunity for the route network, therefore?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. Very good question. For us, when you look at network planning, you want different tools, in your toolbox, and you want, those different tools will help you open new markets and make some markets, like even bigger. So how are we using right now the XLR, or how do we plan to use those XLRs? So number one, new destinations. We have launched a lot of new destinations, in summer and winter, thanks to the XLR. Without that aircraft, we could not have launched, Berlin, for example, or Nantes, or Palma de Mallorca, all those new destinations, secondary destinations on the transatlantic side. In the second stage, what we're doing through winter is maintaining more capacity in winter. So when demand softens, we usually now pull, completely from the marketplace because we only have wide bodies too big. You don't have the demand, like in November, December to keep flying. When you look at markets like Toronto, Copenhagen, for example, or Toronto, Manchester, that will be able to serve year round, that's the value of the XLR. And we know for our customers, it's really important that, they can keep, flying year round. And finally, on North America, that's an aircraft that also will be used, on many transcontinental North American markets, namely Montreal, Toronto to San Francisco, Los Angeles, Vancouver, Calgary. Why does it matter? Because we are bringing that new experience to those customers, and we are bringing consistency, for those customers that want to fly locally or connect. So if you connect, from San Francisco and you want to go to any destination on the transatlantic side through Toronto or Montreal, you're going to be able to board an aircraft, get that wide-body experience, get a lie-flat seat, even on an narrow-body aircraft, and keep going on your journey to your final destination. So that's exciting.
The supply chain issues continue to plague a lot of the aircraft deliveries, and this one in particular, you're seeing like a 2-year delay on some of them. Is that going to shift how the route network planning goes forward over the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, all the supply chain, post-COVID was really impacted, and we had to adapt. But now, the message, like I have, is like we have adapted, and we have shifted our plan just to make sure we reflect, what we know about the delays, what we know about those issues. So, the plan we're currently selling for the XLR is the plan we know we can, that people can rely on and they can book with confidence. Yes, there were delays, but now we're more looking at, the exciting growth that we've got ahead. By the end of the year, we're going to have 5 aircraft with us. By summer 27, we're going to have 10, with us, and we can say that with a lot of confidence because we're working very closely with Airbus just to make sure, we've got strong delivery planning.
It's the nature of the industry, isn't it? We all have to be very flexible, fast on our feet to adapt to everything that's going on. And there's a little bit going on in the world right now that we all have to adapt to. Mark, I want to ask you a logistical question about a single-aisle aircraft, especially on a longer flight. The cards have to come through and people have to get through to the washrooms. Is that an issue?
We want to make sure that we can offer a full Air Canada international experience in both cabins. There shouldn't be a sacrifice for flying on a narrow body. It is a single aisle aircraft, and that will be an aspect to movement in the cabin. We did put 4 lavatories in the aircraft, 3 for the economy cabin and 1 dedicated for the J cabin. So we think that that will help. And also, we're putting 182 seats on board. These 321s can easily hold over 200 seats, does with most carriers. And so that's another element. It is a less dense configuration because we wanted to give more space, and we know that we'll be flying this on long-haul routes.
Well, the seat pitch, I have to say, looks very comfortable. I have long legs, and this is not an issue. What is the pitch?
Sure. The pitch on the aircraft is a minimum of 30 inches and ranges up to 44 inches, depending on the row.
Right. Okay. Now, since I have you here, Mark Alauda put out a statement yesterday to the entire customer base of Air Canada saying there is no fuel shortage as far as Air Canada is concerned in any case. So I really, really want you to re-emphasize that for our listeners, to tell them that they can calm down their client base, because that is the number one issue that keeps coming up. People are not willing to book because they have some phobia that they will be abandoned in Europe or somewhere, which is really remarkable that anyone would even think that way, that they'd be abandoned. So I look to you, Mark, to now address that.
Just as Mark Alauda said, we're fully confident for the summer across our global network of having adequate supply. I just want to dig the wells a little deeper. Like, how do we know that? Why do we feel that way? We've got a dedicated fuel team multiple times a day looking at inventories and supply at every single station in the entire world where we fill up our aircraft. We've got direct relationships with all of the large fuel suppliers with refineries around the world, and something a lot of people don't know. But in Canada, we have our own storage tanks, and we actually hold about 30 days of physical product of fuel. We've effectively cut out the middleman. We buy jet fuel directly from refineries all around the world. We charter vessels that then bring that product to Canada. We store it, and then we ship it to the airports. So we actually have our own physical consumption too, as our own physical supply that's available to us. So it's a very comprehensive fuel strategy. We've always approached it that way, quite candidly, because it's our largest or our second largest cost, depending on the year. But there's an extra special relevance and even more attention on it now. We're fully confident that people can book with confidence. And of course, we have a commitment to our customers and to make sure that we deliver on the schedule we're selling.
It's interesting, your Star Alliance partner, Lufthansa Group, made a similar statement saying there is no issue, they're fully locked and loaded for the summer season, so you can sell with confidence. Great messaging. In the worst case scenario, for instance, Mark, let's say, because things are a little unpredictable with the war in Iran and it's on, it's off, Strait of Hormuz, whatever, if something were to happen that, for instance, there wouldn't be enough fuel, which I really doubt, you'd just send another plane, presumably. You wouldn't leave your passengers in the destination.
That's a great question, and we are fully confident, period, end of story. Now, that being said, we always have plan Bs, contingencies. It's the nature of operating a premium global airline. So think of Canada's geography, right? We've got Gander, we've got Newfoundland, including Gander, we've got Halifax. So we always have the option of taking ultra long haul aircraft, 787-9s, 777s, flying them to Europe with enough gas to get back to Canada and doing a fuel stop if we have to. But again, that is a contingency. We are fully confident that we will be able to operate our schedule as it's sold this summer. We're planning for that, and we have the flexibility to deal with any unexpected issue should it come, but we have full confidence.
Thank you for that message, Mark. Super important. I hope everyone is paying attention. Sell with confidence. Congratulations on this new aircraft, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Merci.
Captain, do you get as excited as we do when there's a new aircraft in the offing?
Well, it's hard not to get excited about something like this. It's the first time we've introduced a new aircraft into the narrow-body fleet, the Airbus fleet at Air Canada, so we're incredibly excited about it.
I know you haven't flown the aircraft yet, but there must be some things that are new and different in the engineering, being that it just came off the assembly line.
They've introduced some new technology. It's probably it is the most advanced aircraft in the narrow-body fleet, but Airbus, in their normal characteristic way, have designed the aircraft to fly like any other narrow-body aircraft. So really, from a pilot perspective, other than some of the visual aspects that you would see when you walk in the flight deck, it operates just like any other Airbus aircraft.
So for you, there's really no difference?
No, not really. We have standard operating procedures which are identical. Any pilot that's qualified on the 320 family at Air Canada is qualified to fly this aircraft.
But I noticed you smiling when you came down the stairs, so there must be something about it that tickles you, even being in the industry for however many years you've been in it. You're not jaded.
No, I'm not jaded. I mean, it smells like a new car, right? And who doesn't get excited about the smell of a new car?
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you.